Hey y'all, it's Summer from Hammond's Nest, and today I'm going to share with you a super simple, pretty budget-friendly craft that was inspired by an upcoming holiday, Valentine's Day. However, I kind of went with a black and white scheme here and a theme, and so I think it could be left out all year long. It just doesn't scream Valentine's Day, but super cute. Also, before we get started, let me tell you, I think it would make a great gift for kiddos, grandkids, spouses, even best friends or roommates or something, But we are making an I Love You Today because board. So let's get started. First, I have this wood pile. This is the Hobby Lobby wood pile section, the unfinished wood crafts. And I'm actually not going to do anything to this board today, but I'm going to use it to build the sign. So we'll call it a sign. And this is a great deal, you guys. It is $10.99 regular price. So, if you shop the sales, but you could still paint or stain this board. Do it however you're scheme. You could age this metal a little bit by putting some paint or something like that on it. But I'm just going to leave it as is for the craft and show you. And I just hope you're inspired. So the first step is going to be on my silhouette. I cut this design. It says and we're going to put something else for the heart. Love you today because. So like I said, this was cut. I'm using permanent stick black matte vinyl. And that, to me, it looks like painted words. It's so beautiful. But if you don't have a silhouette or Cricut, maybe ask a friend or something like that to cut. It's kind of like a decal. And then, so the first step is going to be for me to get that down. So I'm going to do that right quick. I've just got transfer paper, backer paper, and then my actual vinyl. So it's like a little bit of a process here. I think this will be so special we're basically going to turn it into a chalkboard sign in a sense. You'll see. I think it'll be so sweet to let those know that you live with and everything, how much you love them, and all the different serious reasons, funny reasons, anything like that you want to write on the board. Getting my decal to stick down there good. I just like to go real slow in that process so I don't mess it up. So now I've got this, and this is the top of my board here, and I'm just going to line it up best I can. I'm going to eyeball it. If you're a measurer, go right ahead. But I love, if you've never shopped down the wood pile section, there are so many great items you can turn into something very, very, very quickly. Okay, so I'm going to give it a little... This is called burnishing. So we're just burnishing down to make sure that our permanent stick vinyl stays nice and good. All right, now I'm going to pull up my clear transfer paper. Now I wanted to do this part first so I would know the spot on my chalkboard area. So I wanted to get my words down. So whatever you might choose, you could do so many things. Whatever you choose to embellish in this top portion, just make sure that you have that down first if you choose to do any kind of painting. Okay, so next step, we'll come back to the heart part in a minute. So this is what it looks like so far. Let's go ahead and cut this off. Get that out of our way. So that's what it looks like so far. And the next step is going to be, today I'm using a Waverly chalk paint. Now it is not technically a chalkboard paint, but you could use a chalkboard paint for this. But most chalky type finish paints, if you do them in 3 thin coats going like 3 different directions, it makes a good chalkboard surface. Maybe not one that you would use like really, really super hard, but for me, I've tested it and it erases nicely, wipes back with like a damp rag nicely after it all sets and everything. And so you can write on it with chalk and then go about that. So next step is just get a little bit of this paint. I'm just gonna cheat and just dip a little bit in the bottle because I'm not wanting a whole ton at first anyway. Okay. Now, in my mind, I didn't want like a perfect rectangle down here. I wanted kind of a, way to say it, kind of like a paint sample, like somebody would just paint a quick paint sample for you or something. So that's kind of what I envisioned. So I'm going to start in the center and kind of work my way out, just using a little bit of paint at a time until it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay. Hopefully you can see how this is coming together, what I was kind of thinking, how cute it would be. I want it to be kind of imperfect in a way. You know, where it doesn't look like it has to be that perfect rectangle down there. Okay. Keep going to make this look more like paint here on the edges. Coming together so far. Okay, so I've got that thin coat here. Let's see. I better stop working on it and let it be, huh? Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let this dry. I'm gonna come back to you and I'm gonna do another coat and then another coat. Alrighty, so here's my second coat. I'm just doing it in a diagonal way. This really helps the paint set up. And then you'll let that dry and then you'll do a third coat. All right, lastly, I'm going to do another coat going vertical, and this helps my paint set, which I am using the Waverly chalk paint in the color ink, again, just in case you wanted to know. And then I'm going to lightly brush it left and right just to make my brush strokes look that way. I'll let it all dry and it'll be set up and get ready to make like a chalkboard. All right, so the next step is going to be to make our heart to go in the middle of the I love you. And I just have this white heart cut out on cardstock. I had made it to where I knew it was gonna fit with my silhouette, and then I just put it so that I could trace it, because I feel like the cutest part, besides the bow is pretty cute too, the cutest part of this is this raised scrapbook paper that I'm gonna be using for the heart. Now this doesn't rip. You probably could rip it if you try hard enough, but it definitely cuts, and it's found on the scrapbook paper aisle at Hobby Lobby. Hold that up so you can see there. And I think it was like half off, so I decided to give it a whirl because it's so beautiful, and you can tell I've chopped it up and used it for several things. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my heart here and put it where I want the design. I'm gonna trace it out. And I'm just using a pencil to trace onto this paper to cut out the perfect little heart. I'm not gonna paint this, even though it is a paintable surface. I'm just gonna leave it white to go with my black and white theme. I'm going to just take the back side and I'm gonna take hot glue. I'm using, today I have a low temp in my hand, but I'm just gonna go really quickly along the outside edges. I'm gonna try to do this pretty fast so my glue doesn't start to dry. I wanna get as close to the edges as possible, but not so close where it'll run out. And then just a little bit in the center. And then just plop it down. Give it a nice little push down. And there you go. Strings. So far so good. Kind of showing you progress as it goes. What do you think? Okay, we're gonna put this back to the side. Now it's time to make our bow. You ready? I have some cute black and white striped ribbon that I picked up in the clearance holiday section at Walmart. So don't, forget about getting some black and white or red or just solid colors and things like that that you can work into other holidays that might be sold at Christmas or any holiday clearance for that matter that doesn't scream the holiday, and you can use it for other stuff. So this is a simple kind of faux loop bow. And just to kind of show you, I don't always measure, but for this particular project, I'm gonna cut 4 strips, all of them 12 inches long. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut those right quick. So I'll have 4 12-inch pieces. One will be the faux tails, and then 3 of them will make up the faux loop bow. So pretty simple, and just gotta get it measured perfectly. And I'm gonna snip and V the ends of just the faux tails. Other 3, here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna take them like this, where they barely loop over each other, like so. And then push down, and then that's gonna be like your center. So you can do that and set it to the side, kind of do all 3 of them like that. Go. All right, so I got this final one in my hand. I'm keeping the tight center. I got that. Then I'm gonna take another one. I'll pinch it again. and just kind of crisscross it like so. Now you could stop here depending on how big you want the bow. You could just do a 2-looper, or 4-looper should I say, but using 2 pieces of ribbon. I'm gonna go ahead and do a 3rd one. And so this, I'm keeping the center tight. This is gonna kind of be what it looks like before. So there is clearly a back where the pieces separate, okay? But then there's the front. So then you're gonna take a small piece of string like this, that to the side. You can use wire, you can use a zip tie. People do lots of different things. So then you're gonna grab it here in the center, turn it over. I like to where I'm looking at the back of the bow now. I'm gonna give it a nice little knot. I'm just actually gonna, for this one, I'm just gonna tie it pretty tight once, but not double knot it. I'm gonna go ahead and take my tail and put that in there too on the back. I'm just laying it back on top of there and then finish tying it off with a nice double knot. So you're just giving the illusion that there's a tail hanging down, but you're piecing it together. Okay. Now, kind of looks flat like this. So I like to use wired ribbon. So this ribbon was wired, and then I can kind of shape it and curl the ends. And I can also pull that out like that and shape that. And there's one final step I'm going to show you. Okay, so this is what you have so far. Oh, well, it doesn't look right when I'm holding it like that. Let's see. So this is kind of what you have so far, and you can move these around and fill them in best, you know, however you want. So there's what you have so far. Isn't that cute? But I want to make that center look finished off. So I'm going to grab one small little piece of ribbon here. It's about 2.5 inches long, something like that. And I'm actually going to glue it. So I'm just taking that little bitty tiny piece and making a faux center too. And after that's all glued down, I'm going to reshape the loops and kind of curl the tails a little bit. Okay, so right before we put on this bow, I want to go ahead and do what I call seasoning your chalkboard surface. So we did use chalk type paint to create a chalkboard surface, and we put it on in 3 thin coats, go in different directions. We're going to kind of use the same thing using a piece of chalk. So this actually preps your chalkboard surface and makes it to where it's less likely that you'll get those ghost letters, which means like when you write with chalk and you erase it, you can still see what you wrote. So all you do is you take a full piece of regular chalk and you're going to move it side to side, covering the entire writing surface like that. Then you're going to go up and down. Like I said, mimicking kind of our directional thing with setting up our chalkboard surface. And then lastly, diagonal helps too, I think. All right, once that's all on there, now you kind of seasoned and prepped all your pores of your chalkboard. And so you can lightly, this is just a mister bottle, I'm just putting a little bit of water on here. And until your paint has had a little bit more time to cure, you may get some, you know, black residue, but that's just because it hasn't had tons of time to cure, but it is not wiping off. It's just a little bit of chalky residue is all. Okay, so we've got our surface prepped. We're gonna let that air dry. And here's what I'm gonna do next. So I got this cute bow that we made. And then this board had a hanging rope. You could use this on an easel without the rope, without the bow. You know, you could just put it on the easel or anything. But if you wanna use the hanging rope for this particular one, I liked it with the bow. I thought it was cute. But one thing I didn't want was it that high up. So what I'm gonna do, this is knotted in here. I'm gonna take this down a little bit. I'm gonna pull it out till it's a little bit lower. I'm gonna re-knot it. Basically, I'm just making it a shorter string. And then that excess, I'm gonna chop off. Okay, so now that excess rope, now instead of having a super, super long string, it's like that. So then I'm gonna tie on my bow. Pretty easy. Oh my gosh, is that not precious? So, gonna be even more precious when we write something on it. Are you ready? let's get our chalk ready. Okay, so we have our board all ready, but we just have to write on it. So I'm actually using regular white chalk that I sharpened with this sharpener, the crayon sized hole. There's also another option is a charcoal pencil, which is really great, but it could, if you press down too hard, it could leave those little ghost letters. But I'm gonna opt for white chalk here, and we're gonna say, I love you today because you make me smile. Put my little E there, little smiley face. I'm thinking those would be so cute too. Like I said, great for a spouse, but it could be for your kiddos. You could put it in the bathroom, in the kitchen, in the entryway, just anywhere they're gonna see it. You can write sweet messages to them. So thank y'all for watching. I'll see you next time with another fun and creative idea. So sweet, so simple, and will truly touch the hearts of those that you love. Hope you enjoyed seeing it come together, and you can visit HammonsNest.com for even more ideas. Have a great day.